Hello and welcome. I'm Christina here with Butchery 101, and today we're going live to make some rabbit ramen and talk about the fact that I just got my second dose of Pfizer. Holy shit, this lighting sucks. Um, oh no, it's still bad. I don't know, gang. I'm not yet good at lighting stuff. Okay, but what I did want to talk to you all about is the fact that I just got my second Pfizer shot last night, like yesterday evening. I was towards the end of the day for them, and so I wanted to just disclose like what my experience is with whether or not I'm having a reaction, and I'm totally not. Really, spoiler alert, I'm not having that bad a reaction at all. I kind of purposefully chose to not wear any makeup today because I was like, I thought we were going to have a bit more of a reaction. But no, not really. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. And so let me take you through what it is I'm doing with our ramen situation. Um, so one of my favorite parts of ramen is the onsen egg, which is like a relatively slow cooked egg where the yolk congeals sooner than the white does, and the texture is just phenomenal. Like the yolk becomes this glorious like fudgy texture, and it's just the when you can like mix it in with your noodles and your soup, it's so delicious. So I'm trying to do that, and the way you achieve that is cooking your eggs at in water at about 145 degrees for about 45 minutes. And so normally I would be, oh my gosh, I keep my kettle like right behind where I keep this camera. Normally what I would use is a sous vide machine, but I tried firing that bad boy up earlier today and it did not want to participate. So we're going semi-old school, and I have a pot of 155-ish degree water. That guy there, this one, about 155 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm about to drop in some really lovely brown eggs. And I got the water up to 155, and my stove is electric, and I'm sure you can tell. So what I'm going to try to do is maintain a really consistent temperature for about 45 minutes for these guys, and I overshot the temperature just a little bit to account for the cold eggs going in and dropping the temp. Okay, so the temperature of the water is still like over 150, which is totally fine. I'm just gonna like just edge the burner heat down just a touch, and we're gonna be checking in on that every couple minutes. And then let me catch you up on what else is going on out here. This is a pot of rabbit stock that I made a couple weeks ago from the Valley Farmstead rabbits that I butchered on this channel back then. And so I'll try to pop a link in the video before posting it in its recorded version, so that you can find those tutorials like really quickly. And then I just got, like, for lazy purposes, a couple packets of this like instant ramen that you just kind of like heat up the noodles a little bit. So yeah, I'm pretty into that. I'm excited for this. And then I'm preheating this cast iron skillet. You can barely see it. A cast iron skillet to sear off some rabbit thighs that I've deboned and set in curing salt, or rather a curing mix of salt and sugar and some aromatics and some seasonings. And I'm going to pat them dry and then sear them in this cast iron pan so that I have some slices of meat to go on top of my noodle soup. So actually, I have to go acquire those. and I will be right back. One sec. Okay. Thanks for hanging out still. And so here we have a couple really gorgeous thick rabbit thighs that have been deboned. Oh my gosh. Fam, I'm sorry. We will figure out a better lighting scheme someday. Ugh. Maybe that's just how it's lit. Maybe that's just how we light this. It's because I have a different camera today than I normally do. But we will figure it out. And yeah, so these are 2 deboned rabbit thighs. They're from Valley Farmstead up in Everson, Washington. I've had them in a salt and sugar mix for a couple days since Saturday. And so they have given up a little bit of their water and essentially this is the method I like to refer to as dry brining. Because you get the same benefits of adding salt and sugar and like desiccants to your meat without having the huge mess of having like a big bin of water in your fridge, just sloshing bacteria around. And so right now I'm just picking off some of the aromatics before I put it in a preheated pan. And then once the rabbit thighs go into the pan, we're going to have to like keep kind of it's going to get noisy is what I'm going to get at here. But a means to an end. So there's that. I'm just going to temp this water again real quick. Okay, so it's still a little bit high in like the mid to low 50s, which is fine. I'm going to turn the heat down just a smidge lower. Because yeah, the trouble with cooking this way is that you have to get the water to that certain temperature, and then you have to make your stove maintain that temperature instead of like the temperature rising constantly. So that's a thing that the sous vide machine would have achieved, but she didn't want to work today. What are you going to do? Okay, so, and my rabbit stock is heating up. This pan is getting hotter. Okay, so I'm just going to be using some regular old canola oil because that's just what is accessible to me currently. My ideal situation would be to fry these in like lard or tallow. Something else that I could acquire from like an awesome small farm, which I think Valley Farmstead, now that I think about it, they might even sell tallow or lard because they do raise other animals besides rabbit. And yeah, rabbit is just like really lean. So it's really hard to like depend on the rabbit to like provide you the fat to cook it in. But we still love it. So at this point, I'm just going to treat them like regular old chicken thighs. Pop them in the fryer. Actually, I might just slightly because I feel like being a little bit extra. just slightly. I'm going to butterfly out the thigh just a smidge because they're kind of thick in some areas, and I'm concerned about how long they're going to take to cook. And a really easy way to mitigate like long cooking times is to cut your meat into smaller or at least thinner pieces. So yeah, there's I actually have a little bit of butterflying in one of my tutorials in the pork belly tutorial. The pork belly roulade video that's up on my page. So feel free to check that out if you want to see like pretty much a long form version of what I'm doing to these thighs right now. And then that'll get you up to speed. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this pan. It's smoking hot, and I've patted the rabbit thighs dry before popping them in. Oh yeah, that's a great sizzle. Ooh, and pro tip, if you don't want your burners to get all oily, cover them while you're cooking. Otherwise, you're just going to have like weird smoky burners forever. I'm going to do this for the grams. And honestly, for supplemental footage for later. Yeah, there's that. Oh, so again, you want this hot water to be, geez, a little bit lower than that. It's still a little high, about 10 degrees too high. If I really wanted to be ballsy about it, I could add like some ice cubes to this to bring it down just a smidge. Oh, yeah, I guess I should do that. Super don't want to though, because the trouble, this is a dodgy game to play, because if it goes too low, then I'm in the same exact situation where the temperature is wrong. But I really, really want those beautiful onsen eggs, and this is the way that you got to do it. So, okay, so two tiny ice cubes in, and the temperature is still in the 50s. Come on! Oh, I hope it goes down. And of course, my ice cube tray is like not very full right now. Mise en place, fam. Mise en place. Okay. So I'm trying to get this water bath down to a consistent 145 without my sous vide machine. But this is the struggle. And it's what you got to do if you want onsen eggs and you don't have the onsen hot springs or a sous vide machine available to you. Because my sous vide machine decided she didn't want to work today. Which, you know, been there. That's cool. So I just popped in a couple ice cubes, and it's not really lowering the temperature the way I want it to, but it's okay, I guess, whatever. Whoa, that is a great sear. I wonder if you can see how brown that got. I'm excited. This is going to be good. And of course, my burner isn't exactly level. So I have to like kind of scoot them around the pan so that they find where the oil is cooling. And that's fine. You just gotta like work with what you get. And it kind of seems like one of them is about halfway cooked through, so I'm gonna flip him. Hopefully get a little bit of sear on the other side too. This bad boy. And then while we're at it, I'm just gonna pop a quick taste of the rabbit stock itself. Mostly to check for seasoning because at this point that's what. Oh, and then the strength of the flavor. Oh my god, it's so good still. Yum! Yum, it's gonna be so good. Yeah, let's let that ride. This guy's looking good and brown. I'm gonna pop him over. All right, gang. We're about 15 minutes in, and onsen eggs are working. Ramen broth is working. Oh, it's a little high. Ramen broth is working, and rabbit thighs are working. So it's feeling pretty good. I recently did a video on my favorite kitchen gadgets, and literally this kitchen thermometer is at the top, or like any instant read digital kitchen thermometer that you have will be like super vital, especially if in your moments like this where you had a machine that you thought would keep track of it for you, like the sous vide machine that I have, but she don't want to play. Turn that down just a smidge. All right. Okay. And then again, to catch everybody up, I just got my second dose of the Pfizer vaccine yesterday, and I had heard that there's still like a amount of I don't really know what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy going on out there, and that's what is currently the mitigating factor in terms of the United States getting to herd immunity, and that is so disappointing to me. I mean, I get why people would be cautious. I'm super risk averse, and so I just wanted to pop on here and share my personal experience, and hopefully that'll encourage other people to get vaccinated as well, because this is like kind of your civic duty to do so. Also, it like will help end the pandemic, which I think is something that like we're all looking forward to. The science is there. If any of you here have any questions, you're welcome to pop them into the chat. I am by no means any expert. Like, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a scientist, even by trade. But I do trust the people who are in those positions professionally. And so when the overwhelming advice is to go get a vaccine in order to help end this pandemic, I'm down to go do it. And it's pretty much as soon as I was eligible to go get vaccinated, I went and scheduled my first shot. Thank God I was able to get in because like where I live, they made it like really logistically convenient, and I so appreciate that. Like, shout out state of Washington, and in particular Western Washington. I'm sorry. I wish I knew what was going on more in the rest of the state, and then like maybe in other states too. But like for me, oh no, I turned it off. Why, Christina? And what's going on for me personally is that it's super easy to make an appointment, especially if you're somebody who is able to use the internet in like a, literate fashion. Yeah, it was something that was like really easy and convenient. I got to go to a site that was like within a 5-minute drive of my home. And both times, including the 15-minute wait time observation period after you get your shot, both times it took under half an hour for me to go get this done. The first shot I got no reaction, like no bad reaction at all. And it happened to be during a week that I had a lot going on, like in my personal life. And yet, like, it still happened. Like, I could still have that appointment taken care of. And it was, like, really, really practical. So, like, I really want to encourage more people to go do it. And again, if anybody has any questions, I'm no doctor, but I do have Google available to me, and I trust the science. So there are plenty of resources out there. If you do have questions, there are a lot of resources out there available. Actually, I really enjoy NPR. I recently watched a recent episode of the Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Was all about vaccine hesitancy and why it is that people are so nervous. And it offered a strategy for the rest of us. Because, it's hard to convince strangers of anything, really. But if you happen to know me personally and you trust me with information, I would love to, like, be a resource to you to help, like, mitigate your concerns. Again, I got my second shot yesterday. I had no reaction to the first Pfizer shot. And, like, I'm still standing today. I do know that I've had some friends and family have bad reactions to the second shot, and so I totally get it. Like, there's a major concern. But that has so far not been a problem for me. Oh, also, I am not a huge fan of needles in general, and that was something that I was, like, genuinely nervous about. With, like, having the shot, like, just like having a needle put in me. I was, like, super nervous about it, and it was not a big deal. That was not an invasive situation at all. So I feel pretty good about it. Okay, so speaking of feeling pretty good, I'm feeling pretty good about these thighs. So I'm just gonna, like, take their temperature real quick. Right around 150. I guess everything's around 150 right now. 160. In fact, I'm going to pull this one. She's temping out in the high 60s. And in fact, I'm going to pull this guy up too because, yeah, if you're in the mid 50s on a piece of meat about this size, it'll carry over. It'll carry over to the point that you need it to be in terms of food safety. So I'm going to kill the heat there. Turn on the fan. Sorry. Just for a minute. Actually, here. Let's do that because we're still talking and I don't want that audio to, like, screw everything up. Okay, so the chicken thighs are out of the pan. Again, they temp out at just about 150 degrees or 155. The cooler one tempted at 155. The other one was already in the mid 60s, and 165 is the ending temperature that I'm looking for. And with pieces of meat like chicken thighs or rabbit thighs, something about this size, if you pull it in the mid 50s, like 155 and up, the carryover heat should take care of the last of that gap to 165. That way, you know that your food is safe to eat and, but not overcooked, because that is a darn shame when you source your meat really well. You go through the bother of dry brining it and then overcook it. Ugh, that's just heartbreaking. So that's why I'm a huge fan of, first of all, knowing the techniques, and then secondly, using the tools available to you, like a meat thermometer, that will demystify what's going on with your food, and so then you can act accordingly depending on like whatever it is your situation is, and you'll get the results that you want if you know more about what it is that your food is doing. For funsies, I'm going to temp the ramen broth just to see what's up, and that's at 175, so we're good there. It already boiled and reduced just a little bit, so I'm fine with that. I want to give these rabbit thighs just a little bit of time to rest, and then I'm going to slice them up, pour that hot broth over the instant ramen noodles so that I have like delicious instant ramen noodles in my bowl. And these eggs should be done in about 20 minutes. Maybe even a little bit less because the temperature was kind of high. But yes, so I'm about 20 minutes out from a really delicious ramen meal. I'm going to do a little bit of knife work and then garnish. And then if you want to see the follow-up, I will be posting like, I'll post this video to YouTube, but I'll also have some follow-up action as well in terms of like what the ramen looks like afterwards and how it tasted. So if you want, please do hit subscribe. I will be popping over to Instagram for my very, very last live session over there. Because every other live session here moving forward is going to be here on YouTube. So I'm really stoked on that. So if you want to join me in about 20 minutes, about 11:45 Pacific Standard Time, I will be going live on Instagram for the very, very last time. And I'll also be discussing my vaccine, the reaction that I have had or not had, and also vaccine hesitancy, and then what this beautiful ramen looks like and eats like. So I hope to see you guys then. And if you can't make it, that's okay. You'll be able to find that recording on Instagram. You'll be able to find this recording on YouTube, and all of my live stuff moving forward and most of my content moving forward will be here on YouTube. Thank you again so much for joining. I'm Christina Glenoga with Butchery 101, and I hope you all have a really wonderful day. Okay, bye.